Budget workshop.
Yeah.
So yes.
Hey, Paula.
The Board of Trustees of the City Independent School District will meet in special session at 5:30 PM Tuesday, July 19, 2022 in the Administrative Building Boardroom, 613 West Savava Street in Crystal City. Number one, call meeting to order. Time is?
5:30.
All right, number two, roll call, Ms. Carlos?
Mr. Eric Garcia.
Here.
Mr. Reyes Mosa.
Here.
Mr. Luz Mata.
Here.
Mr. Victor Bonilla III.
Present.
Mrs. Laura Flores Guerrero is running late. Mrs. Melissa Marquez Guerrero.
Here.
And Mrs. Peggy Young. Here.
And for the record, we do have a quorum. Number three, moment of reflection. Number four, audience of patrons for agenda items. Nobody? And then number five, budget workshop, Ms. Bidones.
Okay, and first I would like to thank you all for participating in this budget workshop. So this presentation is going to be presented to you threefold. So I will present a section of the budget workshop. Then we'll pass it on to Mr. Florencio Cepeda, who is our financial consultant. And then we're going to pass it on to Sarah. But before we begin, I would like you to introduce the board to Mr. Florencio Cepeda. He's been working with us all year, last year. Florencio, this is the CCISD Board of Trustees.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good evening, Board President, members of the board, and community members. My name is Florencio Cepeda. I am your CFO consultant for this academic school year. I have been working I have a total of 30 plus years of experience working in projected revenues, funding, budgeting, PEEMS, federal programs, and all the creative responsibilities at the district level. I am honored and blessed to be working with with Dina Briones, and also to be able to present to the board this this budget presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Florencio. So we'll go ahead and get
I
started.
have a question. Why he couldn't be present?
It's a health issue.
Oh,
Okay, any other questions for Florencio? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. And so for the sake of not getting the presentation too muddy, we gave you a paper copy of the presentation. So first thing is I want to introduce you, Board of Trustees, to Vision 2025, which is a modified, updated vision and mission statement for the CCISD. We, along with the campus administrators, work on revising our vision and mission statements as we began this school year. And so effective this school year, our vision statement is now Unified for Success. And our mission statement is we embrace a culture that inspires, empowers, and prepares. So this will be posted on our website effective after today. The other thing that I want to follow up on are the proposed board goals that we have on the agenda for regular board meeting. These are the three goals that we are proposing that the board adopt. We've gone over these during our team of 8. First one being, by the end of the 24-25 school year, 65% of students in grade 3 reading will score at meets grade level or above, increasing science performance from 14% to 65% by 2025. Second goal, by the end of the 24-25 school year, 65% of students in grade 3 math will score at meets grade level or above, increasing summative performance from 18% to 65% by May of 2025. And the last goal, by the end of the 24-25 school year, the percentage of graduates that meet the criteria for college and career and military readiness outcome bonuses will increase from 46% to 92% by August of 2025. So these are the goals that we went over during our team of 8. They are on the regular board agenda for your approval. Strategic planning, so that last year for me, it was a year of really identifying what systems the district had in place, how fragmented the systems were, determining what levels of support the district level needed, the campus level needed, and because of all of that work, we are here with our strategic plan. So these are the basic concepts or the basic tenets that we are focusing on as we design the remainder of the 22-23 school year. So we're looking at continuous data analysis and comprehensive needs assessment. We have continuously met with the instructional teams to look at our data, look at where we have grown. And for the most part, we have, in terms of scale scores and component scores, we have exceeded almost entirely last year's performance levels. So that is very good for the district. So we'll be presenting that to you in August when the final ratings are released. In terms of making key decisions, we are looking at determining what instructional strategies and practices are best to help us align the work. We are prioritizing content and strategies. We are looking at leadership action. This is where we are, as I have mentioned to you in the past. This is going to be for our district and administrative staff, a summer of leadership development. So the reason why the campus principals are not here today is because they are in training as we speak. They have been at the service center since Monday. We are meeting with them on a weekly basis, looking and considering what requires immediate action and determining whether we have the levels of support for each action that we are that we're setting in place for them. And in some campuses, we are redesigning the way they do their work, their systems and resources based on the data. Most importantly, this year is going to be a year where we align all of the work that we set forth last year. So this is the year that we bring it all together, including leadership. And we're doing this so that when we move to make key decisions, we are keeping in mind that the primary focus of this administrative team is to create a culture of learning. And so we're going back and we're looking at the rigor of STAR and its redesign, which we will continue to have discussions during our next team of 8. We are looking at whether or not campuses are using evidence-based practices so that we can move these scores even farther. We are looking at how the district is utilizing the TEACS resource system and the fidelity with which they're using it. And we are also looking at the assessments, the alignment in the assessments, making sure the curriculum, instruction, and assessment are aligned. In terms of leadership action, we have spent these last couple of weeks since we started the new school year in leadership development. And so we have had some heart-to-heart conversations with both the district staff and the campus staff in looking at the work that we're doing, really looking at how we show up when we show up to work and how we are assisting each other and helping each other grow. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're continuing to have collaboration meetings with the campus staff. We are going to look, we have finalized the redesign of some of the systems and the resources that we are using, very specifically with the hopes of aligning what we're doing, especially in reading and math, because as I mentioned to you earlier in other board meetings, we do have a misalignment in that pre-K-5 curriculum in both reading and math. And because we are a T-class district, we are really looking at receiving assistance from the RSSP team in both reading and math, and Mr. Matthew Moreno is the one that is in charge of this component. And I'm going to move on to the next slide, the next slide aligned to the other work. So we're not moving away from the effective schools framework model. That's that circle that you see under the align to other work. This model, what it provides for us is a theory of action. What is it that the district has to do to keep moving these scores forward, to keep moving teacher performance and teacher development, leadership development, student development forward. And so we are continuing to use this framework to help us push the work forward. questions in terms of the academic pieces of it. Again, the achievement pieces of it, we will present in August when the scores are. But I know that Ms. Martinez and I finalized the scores earlier this afternoon, and almost in all subjects, grade levels, we have outperformed in both component scores and skill scores. And that's what we can report because the final accountability system hasn't been finalized. Florencio?
Yes, Board President, board members. Ms. Briones just spoke to you about the instructional piece, the curriculum and instruction side. So I wanted to go over what we're going to be talking about in the budget workshop today, defining the budget, looking at funding resources, the legal requirements that are needed in order to approve a budget, the Texas Education Agency requirements, what roles and responsibilities each group of staff has, and then we'll go into questions and answers. So here are four definitions of budgeting, and that is a process of allocation resources to prioritize needs of a campus and or district, a product of the campus and district planning process, a valuable tool in the planning and evaluation process, and the link. I think this is a really good one. It's the link between instruction and financial planning. There are three major revenues of sources that come into a district, and that is your local property taxes, your state funding, and your federal funding. Your local property taxes, that generates your local resources, your local budget. Your state funding, those are the buckets of money that come to your district based on the special populations of your students. Your federal funding are all of your grants. Funding is based on two major pieces of data that are submitted to the Texas Education Agency. That is student attendance and student enrollment in specialized programs. By specialized programs, we mean your migrant students, your special ed students, your at-risk students. All those groups of students are your specialized program that make up your state funding. State funding, of course, is also based on your local tax effort. And always remember this is really important. As your property values increase, the more money that you get from your local property taxes, your state funding decreases. So as your local property taxes increase, you'll get more money from your local funding, but you will get less funding from the state. And your state funding is also based on you're limited based on property wealth. Rich school districts get a lot of local funding, but they get very little state funding, and vice versa. What are the legal requirements? The superintendent or its designee shall prepare the budget. President of the board must call a public meeting. Notice of the public hearing must be published in the daily, weekly, or bi-weekly newspaper published in the district, not earlier than 30 days, nor later than 10 days before the date of the hearing. And the reason for that is because you want your notice to be timely so that those individuals that comprise of your citizenry don't forget this particular date. No funds must be expended until the adoption of the budget. I cannot go right now and start spending next year's funding because the board has not approved it. The budget must be prepared in accordance with a GAAP. That is our accounting practices, the state accounting practices. That's why we have a 20-digit budget code. The budget must be adopted before the tax rate. This particular year is a very unique year. So we anticipate that we will adopt the budget in August and then adopt the tax rate in September. And the reason for that is because there is so much fluctuality in the value of all of the property in your community, and because of the new $45,000 tax exemption for your elderly, the state is a little behind on gathering all that data and making a true taxation estimate. Public funds of a district may not be spent in any manner other than as approved by the budget adopted by the board. But the board may amend a budget or adopt a supplementary emergency budget to cover necessary unforeseen expenses. And that means that you all as a board will adopt a budget at the function level, your function 11, your function 12, your function 13, and so forth down the line. And we will present the budget in that particular manner in accordance with the Texas Education Agency and our legislatures. And we cannot spend, if the board approves a budget of $100 in function 11, we cannot spend $101 without us going to you to amend the budget. Here are the TEA requirements. The budget must be adopted by the board by August 31st. We hope to approve the budget way before that particular date. Minutes must reflect all budget adjustments. At a minimum, the general fund, which is the 1XX, your food service fund, which is your 101, and your debt service fund must be adopted by the board. Your debt service fund are all of our obligations that we have, where we have passed bonds in prior school years. This is like your mortgage at your home that you need to make, that you need to make payments on a monthly basis. In the state of Texas, you make your debt service payments twice a year. The budget must be filed with the Texas Education Agency through PEAMS. Our snapshot for PEAMS, the fall PEAMS, is the last Friday in October. So if you all make any budget amendments up to the last Friday in October, then that is the budget that we submit to the Texas Education Agency. The budget must be amended before expending any functions. And that's a repeat of the last item that I spoke to you all about. But it is very important because it would be against the law for us to expend any funding above the approved function level. What are the roles and responsibilities of the district? The district must comply with all federal, state, and local board policies. We must ensure that all resources are reflected in the district and the campus improvement plan. That means that as we begin budgeting, the campuses and the district departments must create a comprehensive needs assessment. That comprehensive needs assessment will tell us where we need to spend our funds for next year. And that process creates a campus improvement plan or a district improvement plan. And based off of those two documents, we create a budget that reflects the instructional needs of the district. We must ensure that all students are served. We do not leave any student behind, be it a special ed student, a migrant student, a student that is receiving pregnancy-related services, and so forth. We must ensure that all students' special programs are served in accordance with the Texas Education Code and that we do not discriminate against any particular student group. What are the roles and responsibilities of the campus principal and the program directors? A budget is created based on the comprehensive needs assessment, as I mentioned before. They act as budget managers of the school and or department. As they begin, once the board approves the budget, they become the budget managers. They make sure that those funds are expended in accordance with the campus improvement plan and the comprehensive needs assessment. We finalize the campus budget and submits to the finance office and the superintendent their final budget that they are proposing. So we do all of that in compliance, in coordination. We do not, no one ever creates a budget in a corner by themselves. It is a collaborative effort, both at the campus level and at the district level. The roles and responsibilities in the finance office is to prepare and review the staffing needs. We have already gone through this particular process. Ms. Briones, myself, the departments, and the campus principals have met. We took a look at the projected number of students that would be served in each of the campuses. And we sat down for about 2 days and we went through the staffing needs. The staffing needs that we have at each and every one of our campuses are, I must say, each campus is very well staffed for the number of students that they have. We review all the special programs for its compliance. And what that means is when I take a look at the local budget, I make sure that that budget that we have created for each school meets the comparability test that we must submit to the Texas Education Agency. Review the campus plan and budget to ensure compliance with the district plan. And finally, we review the budgets to ensure fiscal compliance. We make sure that everything, all the budget codes that we're using to account for our expenditures are in the right budget codes in order for us to be in compliance. What are the roles and responsibilities of the superintendent? The superintendent conducts a final review of the campus and budget and department budgets and submits a proposed budget to the school board. The role and responsibilities of the school board is to review the district budget and goals for the upcoming school year, conducts the budget public hearing, and adopts the official budget for the following school year. Currently, our 2022-2023 budget operations cycle, right now, in June, we have completed the comprehensive recommendations for budgetary budget and the proposed tax rate. In July this year, we met and we took a look at what a good compensation plan, the budget process, and the tax rate discussions that we're having. In August and September, we will review student enrollment, adopt the budget, and adopt the tax rate. In October, we'll have teacher leveling. We'll have the first rating, and we will report that to the board. In November, we are preparing for the mid-year incentives, budget amendments, prepare for the audit and presentation in advance of our mid-year PEIMS submission. So even though this is the summer, this is one of the busiest times that we have over on the finance side of the district. This is our 22-23 proposed salary increase and scenario simulation. This is a tiered pay increase that we are proposing. Teachers, counselors, nurses, and librarians, we are proposing that they receive a 3% pay increase. Employees making less than $70,000 that are not included in the first category, which are your teachers, counselors, nurses, and librarians, we are proposing a 2% pay increase. Employees making more than $70,000, not included in the two prior categories, receive a 1% increase. And our hourly employees will receive a hefty $2 per hour pay increase. Questions, concerns, comments?
On this, on the budget, on this thing that you have right now, I mean, we'll put it together or it still needs to be revised.
So he's looking at the scenarios that Region 20 put together for us.
This one,
The one from,
the 3%, the $2, $1, and $2?
yes, sir.
All across, I mean, all across this thing here. But the reason I'm asking, is there's a lot of people that either have left or
Yes.
not here or. I think we have to correct it because we might be getting, might be a principal that left, making so much money in principal of these, so I counted about 20 people that will no longer be with us here, that are in this pages here.
Dina, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
So Mr. Espinosa is saying that on this, for us, it's a legal document, a legal size document, but it's the scenarios that Region 20 presented, that we.
Oh, yes.
We already looked at this, we've already looked at this, and we already know who needs to be removed and who needs to move from, some of them, because of advancement, need to move to a different table, but yes, we've already taken all of those into considerations.
There's like instructional coach, I mean, here.
Yes, some of them are there twice, yes.
4,000.
Right, that's why we said we were gonna pick this up, because we know that it needs amendment.
So I'm assuming that some of the ones that are leaving are still on here, but then some of the hires are not, correct?
Correct, so we have to, as the board is approving, people, we need to put them in where they belong, so that's why this is not a final product.
Right.
And then some people are out of positions,
Correct.
like you with the paraprofessionals, like you, I think just a counselor, you have here with a paraprofessional, so I think if you get it, more closely to make sure everything, there's some people who are twice in the list. So, I'm gonna just go back and make sure, those things are correct.
Okay, so I guess the question is, Mr. Espinosa, when will this be finalized?
So we will present, it's what we're proposing to the board, and we will bring that final proposal to you in August when we look at the budget.
Okay.
When you all move to.
With all the corrections and updates?
With all the corrections,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Mr. Cepeda, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a teacher that's joining us, and she's part of the teacher incentive allotment. So that money is sent to us from TEA, right? It doesn't come out of our budget, right? TEA gives us the money to give to her.
That is correct, ma'am. When we submit the teacher incentive allotment and TEA will approve it, then those funds, you are correct, will come to the district from the Texas Education Agency.
Yeah, I knew that they gave us some money to give to them. We didn't have to use our budget. Okay, so she'll be getting that money separate and aside from what I'm looking at here, right?
Yes, we have to submit we will have to submit the application. TEA will review it. And if we are selected for, and if TEA approves our plan, then those funds will automatically be sent to the district from TEA. Just, and if I may, I wanted to make a notation to this tiered projected or proposed salary increase, if you'll take a look at the 3%, the group of those staff members, your teachers, your counselors, your nurses, and your librarians, that 3%, those are the group of staff members that are closest to the students. Those are the ones that are providing direct services to the student. The next group of next group of staff members are 2%. Those staff members are just a little further away from providing direct services to students. So the tiered proposed salary increase is based on providing direct services to students.
And then you mentioned, on the 187, instructional rate, it's $2 raise. I think it's on page 7.
What was the question?
On page 7, on the 187 daily, 8 hourly, it's $2 a raise.
Yes.
Yes.
That's for parents,
Yes.
cafeteria,
All the
restaurant.
hours.
Or the hourly.
So they're at what, 14 right now?
It depends on what service they provide for the district.
I like it. I like it.
Any other questions for Mr. Cepeda?
No, just, make the correct, not
You will
again,
make the correct,
just,
yes.
go through this and,
Clean up.
people have already, resigned or not recommended.
So this is what you're changing.
Yes, yes. When we asked Region 20 to provide this scenario for us, it was in May, so all of these people were still with us.
We're still
So
employed.
that's why it's reflective of them. Okay. Alrighty, thank you, Florencio. So we're gonna move on to Sarah. Sarah will be presenting a proposed compensation plan. Sarah?
And my area was discussing the academic staffing recommendations for this incoming year. We did propose and add one secondary math position to support math literacy, 3 elementary assistant principals to support reading literacy and math numeracy, and science and social studies support. They will be helping the district in aligning the K-5 reading, math, science, and social studies. 1 assistant principal to support college, career, and military readiness. Everything else we're keep staffing the same despite the enrollment declines. The proposed 2022-2023 compensation plan, what is it? It's a complete package that details all employee salaries and wages, number of scheduled days employees work, and all stipends, supplemental, and extra duty pay rates are also included in this proposed compensation plan. And my last page is a scenario of possible first-year teacher salaries, starting at, the beginning teacher salary is $24,700. And he or she has a special education stipend of $1,000, a master's in education classroom, another $1,000, a mentee stipend of $2,000, and summer school cohorts 1 and 2, $10,000. That could, new teacher could be earning $58,700.
Page 22, what's the academic dean?
The academic deans are the positions that we discussed in June. These are assistant principals positions that we're focusing their duties and responsibilities to reflect 70% of the instructional day of the day will be spent in instructional duties and responsibilities, 30%.
People are already working.
Yes, they're existing, we're just shifting the duties and responsibilities because the day is suggested we need additional experience.
On,
Mentee is, any new teacher, beginning teacher has to participate in our beginning teacher mentor mentee program. And that's throughout the whole year. We're working to do that during the school year, not on Saturdays. It might end up being on the Saturday. Where they're coached by their mentors, and everything.
another question I have, on the staffing recommendations, if I'm not mistaken, when we did that, meeting or presentation that they did for us, Mr. Cepeda, he talked about having a certain number of students to be able to support. So are we gonna be able to support the added, or those are just replacements that we're doing?
So you're talking about the
The ratio?
yeah. So what he's talking about is we've had a decrease in student enrollment. There's a cutoff on your PowerPoint presentation. So the discussion that we had during the budget committee meeting last Friday, I believe it was, no, 2 Fridays ago, was that even that this district has lost students, about 200 students within the last 5 years that we have not been able to replace. So these are either families that were displaced, moved on. And so as far as staffing is concerned, you really want to have a staff that supports the student enrollment. And so what you don't want to have is what Florencia refers to as circling the drain, which means that even though the district is aware that student enrollment is decreasing, we continue to increase the teaching pool. TA considers that to be circling the drain. And so what we need to do is make sure that our staffing patterns meet our enrollment, so that we have as much of a balance in this area as possible. Okay, so I believe that's what you're referring to.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's why on your slide is, even though that last bullet, and I don't know if you can read it because I couldn't read it on this one, even though we know that student enrollment has not increased and will likely not increase this school year either, we are not making cuts in staffing because the data suggests that we need that level of support. Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, on on page 26, on fine arts stipend, we're given the assistant director 7,000.
Correct, that doesn't exist, that's an existing stipend.
And that came about because I think our former director, John Stein, decided to take some money away from his budget and give it to his director. So that's why we have it there.
I don't know that's what happened because I wasn't here at that time, but that's not a standard reason for assignment.
You check into that?
Yes.
I think they were getting about the same thing as the athletic coaches, whatever, but he wanted to give his assistant or assistants more. So he came before the board and said that he had some money on the question and that's how they got the 7,000.
Okay. We'll look into old agendas and see what the discussion was at that time.
Is this the first year we're proposing, police certification cycles?
Yes, it's the first year we're introducing it.
Okay. And also on the academic stipends,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, on the content mentors. I'm on page 22, sorry. On the content mentors, we have stipends that is secondary, so anybody, these are like the department heads,
Yes.
and they're getting that stipend. Do we have that for the other campuses as well? Do you have like the Juarez or how is it?
Every campus has a department.
Everybody, and they're all getting the same
With the responsibility.
with the responsibilities, okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess I can say this, we're talking about money. I've had some of the coaches call me and tell me that the paraprofessionals are making more money than them, even with their stipends. So I told them, I said, it's up to the AD to monitor their hours, because anything over 60 hours should come to the board. I've never seen anything brought to the board, so I don't know how far over they are.
I've had that discussion with Coach Battle, and we've cut down on the number of events or, not lost.
Trainings.
Whatever.
I know where's the one that's.
Sport they sponsor or whatever. We need to make sure that we cut them down because yes, even, and what we found last year is that some of the paraprofessional coaches were making more money out of their extra duty than their regular pay, and that should never happen. And so we're regulating that. Coach Battle is aware.
Because I told him, I said, I don't know who monitors their time. I'm assuming the AD would, or the head coach of that event. I said, but anything over 60 should be brought to the superintendent to bring to the board.
Correct.
Well, I have one more question, Ms. Jones, on the fine arts.
What page?
That's on page 26. Is there any way we can consider an assistant flag director? Because I know that director has about 30 girls. I mean, that's a really large group for one person.
If that is the will of the board, we will consider
I mean,
that.
maybe it's something we can consider. We're giving the flag director 3,000, maybe we can throw 1,500 or whatever, 2,000 in there.
Okay.
For an assistant. I don't know what you guys think, but that's a lot of girls for one person. Even when you go out for events or whatever to keep track of 30 girls, it's kind of.
Another word, add an assistant.
I would think so. Big time.
Yeah, they practice a lot of it.
They do, and they go to all these events and
Supervise.
competitions and stuff. Maybe you can take a look at it.
Next month, can you break down for us the definition of master, advanced, intermediate, master, commissioned,
For the
advanced?
police officers? Yes, ma'am.
Will you break that down for us? Because, they've got a really heavy load to carry this year, and some of them like for 250, is that hours, is that years, is that experience?
It's
Is
training.
that- Okay,
It's based on training. But yes, we will bring that during the regular August.
okay.
Okay?
Page 22, on the master, degrees, that's for anything, masters in anything.
Yes.
Yeah, but teachers, but have a master's, whatever.
That is for the board to consider. If you want to offer a stipend for anyone having a master's, then you would have to, I would ask you then to, I would recommend to you that if it's in that first category, teachers, librarians, nurses, that category that you may want to consider that stipend because they are direct services to students. But then you have people like us that have a master's, well, we don't have a direct, no, we have an impact, but not a direct impact. I don't know, Florence, what do you think?
You also need it for your position.
No, you are correct. You want to give those stipends to those students that provide direct services to students.
So it'll be, if that is what you all are proposing, it'll be that first category. So teachers, counselors, nurses, of course, nurses would be a different certification, but librarians as well.
And it would be for anybody that currently has a master's and anything.
Correct.
But the counselors, aren't they required to have a master's, and that's why they weren't
Yes.
included in that
They
group?
are required to have a master's.
So that's why they're not included. This is for people who have a master's above and beyond what they need.
Right,
That's
in
what
the
I'm.
classroom. And so when they, if I'm not, Edmund and Sarah, you might want to correct me, when they created the masters, this master's stipend, it was for people that had a master's in a subject area, in the content area that they were teaching, not just a master's.
And now it's just a master's for anything.
When's the next, are we gonna have another one like this soon? Another little budget hearing like this?
We can, it would have to,
Okay.
we would have to have it probably in early August.
That's fine. Let's do that because we need to get to the other one. So at this point, let's go number 6, adjournment. If y'all got any questions, write them down and bring them back to the next meeting. We'll make sure we have another budget
And
hearing
these are just
in regards to
proposals.
this, so.
These are things for you all to consider.
Okay.
And so much to go over, so.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So again, write your questions down and bring them back when we come back out here for the next special meeting for the budget. All right, number 6, adjournment.
I will.
I got a motion by Ms. Guerrero,
1 second.
second by Mr. Mata. All right, any other comments, questions before we close? All in favor?